Hello friends and welcome back to my world. As you can see, things have changed here. I had the intention of editing one giant video explaining everything, but we're going to do a bunch of small installments because honestly it just makes it easier for me to edit them with all the machines and keeping production going. So without further ado, let's get into it. As you can see, there's a lot of different equipment in here. This is what I do for a full-time job. I build pens out of my garage, and I'll bring you up to present date. When we last left, I was using my small grizzly mill and my HNC lathe that I modified to make pens. Since then, I've brought on a bunch of new equipment. I've grown a little bit into the garage. I was using half of it, now I'm using all of it, but still plenty of space for more machines. I'm a thin person, so I cram all the machines as close as I possibly can. Anyways, besides the point, the first thing I had to do before I put more equipment in here was paint the floor of the garage. The floor was just plain concrete, which is fine, but there's always dust coming off of concrete, and some of my machines are oil-based machines, for instance, the big hard-hinge lathe. So when any oil gets on the ground, it's just very difficult to clean up if the concrete isn't sealed. Once again, I should have done this before I had the equipment in place because it made it very difficult. I had to paint the garage in sections, scrub the floor, get it all prepped for paint it, then move the equipment onto the painted section. Once it dried, carry on, rinse and repeat. So it took me about a week to get the entire floor painted, or 95% of the floor painted, and then we can move forward with other machines. One thing that's been a bit of a bottleneck to my production is the hard-hinge lathe. Being a turret lathe is not designed for long diameter turning. I was looking at other lathes, other CNC lathes to help with this, some with tail stalks, and specifically also a Swiss machine. But I figured out the best method to use in the meantime for me to greatly increase my production, decrease the amount of finishing I have to do, and pull some of the load off the CNC lathe was just to buy a big manual lathe. So that's exactly what I did. I bought just the biggest kind of offshore manual lathe I could buy locally. I wanted one with a proper gearbox, like an oil lubricated gearbox, so I didn't have to change belts and gearings if I want to change feed rates or do threading on it or whatnot. And I also wanted one with a taper spindle, like a proper taper lock spindle, so that I could purchase a collet chuck to mount to it, because all my work is round. I do lots of clamping. Collet chucks are my ideal thing. Plus I have a set of collets for the lathe, so it just makes swapping everything nice and easy. This lathe, all that expensive, I got it on actually a pretty good deal. I think it was actually an error on the website and it was a few $1,000 off. Purchased it, had it delivered directly to my house, basically with the lift gate, came in one giant crate. I uncrated the whole thing, and then as with all my machines, with my little grizzly machine, the best thing I found to do to increase performance on these budget machines is to add mass to them. The easiest way to add a bunch of mass is just to fill the stands with concrete. So that's exactly what I did on this machine too. Before I even turned it on, before I mounted it, before I did anything, I laid the stands down and I filled them with concrete. I think in this instance, it took about 300 pounds of concrete per stand, so about 600 pounds total, which is nice because that just brings the center of gravity of the machine way, way down. When you bolt to it, it's just less top heavy as opposed to, a 1,000-pound lathe sitting on top of, little pressed steel stands. Making them into big concrete blocks helps significantly. It also reduces the sound and it just makes it perform a lot better. So yeah, that'd be my best advice to anybody that has a budget machine. Fill the stand with concrete. That's like the cheapest solution you can get to improving everything across the board. Once the stands were all cured and happy, I put them in place, measured roughly where they should be, and the next step was to put the lathe on top of the stands. The lathe isn't crazy heavy, but it's about 1,000 pounds. I thought I could probably strip enough components off it that I could lift it piece by piece and then possibly lift the bed up, but that was definitely not the case. So I purchased an engine crane because renting an engine crane was about the same price as purchasing one. Used that to lift the lathe up onto the stands. Wasn't ideal. The way the legs work is just not designed for this type of work, but with enough finagling, I eventually got the lathe into place, had to use some rollers and whatnot to kind of slide it around, position it where I wanted to, and bolt it down. Lathes like this manual lathe in particular, needs to be aligned before you can use it. I mean, it doesn't have to be aligned, but for the work I want to do accurate work. The way you align it is you essentially twist the entire lathe. But to figure out a baseline of how much you have to twist, you have to do a long stick-out turning. So I just grabbed a random piece of steel, some random insert I had on a tool, nothing optimized for anything. These are the first cuts I ever did on the lathe. And you basically just turn two journals. I'll link a Blondie hacks video below. She explains in great detail how to align lathes. It's actually what I used, worked out perfectly. Machine the two journals, measured them, and then you basically just twist the lathe to get into tolerance. I was lucky enough that how everything landed up in the shop here, how everything was mounted, how everything was bolted down, it was perfect. It was within about, I think, 1/10 over 12 inches, which for my work, more than accurate enough. Also, when I say 1/10, I mean 1/10,000th of an inch, not 1/10 of an inch. That would be egregiously out of spec. So yeah, 1/10,000th of an inch, very, very, very tiny. More than accurate enough for my work. Any adjustment closer to that is just going to drive me insane. Once that was in place, I could finish on aligning the tailstock and whatnot. The only real purpose I had for this lathe is turning pen bodies, putting a rod of titanium into the machine and turning the outer diameter so that that can be prepped to go into the hard hinge where it'll do the rest of the kind of fine detailed work, the thing that it excels at. It also lets me parallel process, so I can be, while it is a manual process, I can be working on the manual lathe while the CNC lathe can be finishing the parts. It's kind of a nice thing to move forward. Would I like to have this all CNC'd so I didn't have to stand here and do it? Of course. But it cost me, I think, $5,000 Canadian to have this, thing set up, and then maybe another $500 to $1,000 for the collet chuck and tooling and whatnot to make it go. So a fairly inexpensive solution for me right now. It paid for itself within about 2 months. So yeah, that was a great return on investment. And now I just have a big manual lathe, which is always nice to have. You should always have a manual lathe. It just makes it easy to kind of iterate and think on ideas. As I do with all my machines or all my manual machines that are going to have chips and whatnot on them, I put leather covers on this because leather covers has just worked so well on all my machines here. It keeps the ways nice and clean, keeps chips from falling on them. If you have to do any kind of polishing or whatnot, it keeps abrasive things from falling on the ways. I very much appreciate it. Helps machines last a lot longer, helps keep them into the nice tight tolerances that I want to hold. So this one was no different. I put a big leather cover on it. The only difference with this one is at the headstock side, I put magnets on it so I can easily take it on and off. Just makes it easy to clean underneath. And if for some instance I had to do an incredibly long turning, the lathe or the leather lathe way covers, it's only about 2 feet long, so I can't turn any longer than 2 feet. That was my compromise of having the cover, origami fold nicely without being crazy, cumbersome once it's all, because I work in tiny, close to the chuck most of the time. The other thing, I had a lovely Instagram friend reach out who had a quick change tool post that he was no longer using. MP Machining, I will link his Instagram below. I think he has a YouTube as well. Another garage shop guy with a modified grizzly mill and whatnot. Can you hear that loud truck outside? Why? Why when I start recording? Besides the point. I will link him below. I will link all his channels below. He sent it to me free of cost. Didn't expect anything in return. I sent him a pen, obviously, because it just seemed like the nice thing to do. But I'm making good use of that now. For the work that this manual lathe does, it just does 2 operations. It does OD turning of the pen body and parting it off. So I only really need 2 tools, but it's also nice to have the option, like I said, for the research, development, product design kind of world of it. So that brought me to a pretty good point. That let me increase my production enough to start generating income that I could put aside to invest in a little bit bigger machine, like this one, sitting right camera off to my side. It's hard to, cameras are mirrored backwards, whatnot. So in the next video of this installment, we will talk about all the power things I had to do to get wired up to run this big VMC that is sitting behind me, because it is a 3-phase, 380 volt machine, and most residential places only have 220 single phase. So we will talk about that next Friday. I'm going to try to make these Friday installments because they're fairly easy for me to edit and hopefully decently interesting for you to watch. Thank you for the crazy support over the last year. Hopefully I can keep doing more videos because I honestly very much enjoy that. Doing the latest AMA super long video just reminded me how much fun it is to do videos and to share with you guys. So that's all for now. I will see you guys next week. Take care. Bye-bye.